case. DTM means distinguished Toastmaster, but it doesn't take away the nervousness or the terror, so smile a lot, please. It means so much to me. I have to put this on. My name is Dixie, and I'd love to tell you a little story about how I got my name that has to do with the old South, but I can't, because I was named after my dad, Dick. So now you know. Everyone's always asking me. Somebody on a date once said, never tell that story. Never tell that story. My talk today is about happiness, and specifically why happiness is so important. I hope that you find it uplifting and inspiring, and at the very least, I hope to provide you an opportunity to forget yourself for 20 minutes or so. I don't mean that disparagingly, because that's actually one of the secrets to happiness, isn't it? I also want to remind you of a superpower that we all carry with us at all times. And it's like a magic wand with which you can bonk happiness onto everyone around you. And I feel it's underused, and I would urge us all to take pains to use it more often. I got to thinking about happiness because a fellow Toastmaster speech student gave a speech about an emergency. His mother had fallen, and he'd rushed her to the emergency room so worried. Can you hear me without the mic?
No, you need the mic.
Okay.
You have to stay.
Okay.
Yeah. No, move it.
Move yourself up.
All right, that's fine. I'll stay here. I can. I'll do this.
That's perfect.
So he rushed her to the emergency room so worried. And apparently she'd broken her wrist or sprained her wrist. I was listening then, but maybe I need to work on my listening skills. But in any case, by the end of David's speech, Mom was all bandaged up and on a 2-week vacation having a ball. And she said, don't worry about me. Live your life. I'm having fun. And I think the point of David's speech was that he was so relieved and that he admired her resilience. But what I heard from David's speech was that a mother's happiness freed her son, as in liberated. Fellow travelers, your happiness frees everyone around you. Your sons, your daughters, your parents, family, friends, everyone, strangers. In fact, your happiness can do no less than heal the planet. I know, it's a bit exaggerated, so I have to do that. I'm not making this up, though, if it sounds like hyperbole. This was the conclusion of Aristotle and his Greek philosopher contemporaries at the very end of their thinking lives. They concluded that happiness was the highest moral state a human could achieve, the highest moral state. It's even got a name. It's called eudaimonia. And it's a pretty word now that I say it. It's spelled E-U-D-A-I, monia, Greek. And that is the premise that the highest moral state a person can reach is happiness, right? And it's moral because it's the highest good for everyone concerned, not just the happy person. Obversely, most of the damage in this world has been done by unhappy people. See, I saw some of this. Oh, see that? I like that. Makes me less nervous. I mean, if you just think of your average run-of-the-mill despot or murderous dictator or conqueror or whatever, you can never see an image of them smiling, right? They're always scowling. I don't want to mention any names because you might like them and I have to be politically correct. But even their statues are scowling, right? Or you can think of TV shows like The Sopranos or The Godfather, where they've got all the power in the world, money, briefcases full of money, lakeside house, women, and nobody is anything but grim. Have you noticed? Everybody's miserable. I mean, you can't imagine Vito Corleone cracking up. Really, I mean, like, you know how you're doubled over, you're at a picnic, you got a mouthful of potato salad, and your funny brother comes up, and next thing you know, you can't picture it. So We have one job, and it is to find happiness, according to the ancients and according to modern religious or spiritual thought, which is that it's our birthright and it's our natural state and we got away from it, but that's another speech. It is your most important work, not your job that you go to every day, not your marriage or raising a family or even your charities. Granted, wonderful enterprises all, and they can bring so much fulfillment and joy, unless you're unhappy. If you're unhappy, you just sort of shed that unhappiness onto everyone around you and leave a wake of blue wherever you go, right? So you have this one responsibility, and that is to be happy. Now, did I really come here and tell you just say, be happy, bye-bye? Because it is a tall order. We have a world of despots, and we have suffering and humiliation and injustice, and are we really supposed to just turn away, Pollyanna? Are we really supposed to not care? Don't we ever push back and resist against what we feel is wrong? Don't we ever protest? Absolutely, if it makes you happy and if it starts with love. You see, love and happiness, don't touch that thing. Very scary. Looking at me. Love and, I don't care, I just said it, I have to do. Okay, so, can you hear me?
Yes.
Love and happiness are very intricately connected. They're like two sides of the same entity. Yin yang maybe, or a mirror and a reflection. If you're happy, you definitely feel loving. And if you're unhappy, excuse me, did you need me? I saw you waving at me. If you're happy, you feel loving, and if you're in love, boy, you feel very happy. So as long as you start with love and are compelled with love, you'll be fine in your endeavors. As long as you are not motivated by one of the man-made machinations, like, hatred, one-upmanship, revenge, envy. Like, this isn't in nature. This is unnatural. As long as you jealousy, good one. I don't see birds jealous. So as long as you're motivated by love and compelled by love, whatever you do, you can go to bed at night happy and low, even passionate. I'm pretty sure that Greta Thunberg, who's dedicated her life to protest, is passionate about this planet, right? So we have this one job to be happy, to figure it out. Is it easy? We'll talk about that later. How to do it? Well, that's up to you. I know it's a cop-out, isn't it? There are so many resources and books and podcasts and articles, websites on this subject. I've even got, there's so many books like this one. Happy no matter what. And these are all written by wonderful authors and generous researchers and psychologists, spiritual leaders, and other scholars of the human condition that really care about your happiness. Well, this is their contribution to world peace, isn't it? And they know about eudaimonia. So here, this is for you. Those people that sat in the front, they get prizes today. And they offer so many, there are myriad tools to be happy. There's gratitude. Has anybody ever heard of a gratitude journal?
Yes.
Anybody keeping a gratitude journal?
Yes.
Then you don't get this. This is for Paul. This is a gratitude journal. Paul, that's for you. I also happen to have a bag full of gratitude journals for, it's my contribution to world peace. So please happily take one. I would love it.
Thank you.
Might not be enough to go around, but there's some good ones in there. There's happy. There's gratitude. There's exercise. Pretty hard to be sad when you're feeling the beautiful movement of your body, right? There's nature. Recent study concluded that Listening to birdsong for 15 minutes can increase your happiness by 13%.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how they measure this stuff. But I believe it. Are you surprised? I'm not
Lay on a
surprised.
rock.
Yeah,
Feels good.
2%.
Hug a tree.
Hug a tree. Make your bed in the morning, right? Also being in water, splashing water, something about the electrons, being around water, being around music, making music, singing, listening to music, dancing to music, meditation, prayer, affirmations, forgiving someone, big one, always. Volunteering, doing something meaningful, laughing, playing, eating well, sleeping well, loving someone. And you might say, oh, well, there's a problem. See, I have no one to love. And that's an illusion too, because you can love anyone. You can love entire demographics, right? You can love strangers. So it's up to you. You choose that. Hermann Hesse, the great German-Swiss writer, poet, used to regularly, and please don't try this at home, but he would regularly throw in a knapsack, leave his wife and kids, and go wandering because he believed that the perfect love was the love of strangers. Isn't that interesting? And it made him happy. I would argue that the perfect love is the love of dogs.
Yeah, me too.
Some would argue that the perfect love is the love of God. But I say why quibble? Because if you put them together and you fold it up, it's the same pure love. You don't even have to love a person. You can love your job. You can love a project. You can love a cause. I have a friend who's passionate about the microbiome of soil.
Me too.
Then I can't call her a nerd. I was going to say, would you call her a nerd? Sure you would, but she's a happy nerd. She's very happy. And this, just as an aside, we've got to stop saying, I just want to be loved, because that's not even true either. If someone walked up to you on the street and said, I love you, man, you're my everything, would you run into their arms or would you run into your car? Lock the door. It's not about, you have to be the lover. It's you who feels that, who loves you is honestly none of your business. If someone loves you back, that you love, that is a happy coincidence, right? That is really none of your business. And if you choose to love somebody, they owe you nothing. But it feels good, doesn't it? Okay. So we need to find happiness. Is it easy? No, actually it's not. Is it easy to be unhappy? Oh, yeah. That's all downhill. Everything negative rolls downhill. It's easier to destroy than to create. It's easier to tear down than to build up, right? And it's easier to kill than to generate life and nurture life. And this is why pop culture makes me crazy. Because everything is lasers, right? Like, how hard is it to kill something? I want to say, Arnold, have a baby. Try having a baby, Arnold, and raising it with love and nurturing it for years. I kind of like to redefine masculinity as that latter thing rather than so. I'm suggesting we do the hard thing, not the easy thing. Find happiness somehow. I promised you could heal the planet. I didn't say it would be easy. Now, for that superpower I was telling you about, I want you to imagine you are on a ship at sea, lost at sea, afloat on an inky black sea. It's a moonless night. You're anxious because you're a little bit lost. You think. You don't know where you are. You don't know if you're in safe waters. And then you look up on the hill And you see, do you think, is that what it is? It is, it's a lighthouse. And the lamp is turning. And light floods across the surface of the sea. And you see where you are, and you're comforted, and you're reassured, and you see that you're right where you need to be, you're not lost, and you feel a little less alone. My friends, it's your smile that can do all of this for somebody. Mother Teresa says, when you smile at someone, I have to read it. I just don't want to misquote Mother Teresa. Every time you smile at someone, it is an action of love, a gift to that person, a beautiful thing. After all, what do you look for in the face of a stewardess on a bumpy airline flight, right? She smiles at you and you smile back. Because of mirroring, we're biologically wired to mirror the faces we see around us. It had a survival value. It was important for tribes to recognize like from different, from familiar from unfamiliar, and to know that you're all on the same page, to know that all is well. But now when you smile at me, I have to smile back, and if you start laughing, I probably am going to start cracking up too. That's mirroring. We have mirroring neurons. You can Google it. And you can have fun with it too. Go to the grocery store, where everybody's face is sort of on default grim. And shoot them a smile in the soup aisle. And they have to smile back, and you're like, you just smile. Power. And if nothing else convinces you to smile, do it because there's no amount of jewelry, accessories, or perfume that make you quite as gorgeous and sexy as a smile.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Oh, yes.
And finally, I'm going to, and I know that where we are in time, I am going to close with 3 very short stories. Very short stories. The first one's very short. I got a Facebook friend request from a total stranger, some guy, and I said, of course, because I'm an idiot. And he says, hi Dixie, this is David. Do you remember me? No, his name, anyway, it doesn't matter. Do you remember me? You smiled at me in line at freshman orientation at Huntington Beach High School. Oh, it was 50 years ago.
Awesome.
The power of a smile. The second story, I was at the grocery store. It was during COVID. Everyone was masked up. A lady in front of me had a basket with a child in the basket. Cashier, other shoppers. And that little child is the next Jim Carrey. He was playing and jumping and using that basket like a playground toy. Climbing all over it, doing the muscle man thing, and we were all doting on him, but he looked at his mother, who was masked, and he froze, and he looked at her, and he said, Mama, are you smiling? Yeah, that's how it got me too, instantly, because he didn't know how to proceed without knowing if his mother was smiling, and I didn't want to stick around to see if what if she wasn't? You see how important a smile is. And finally, the last story is about probably the most important smile in my life. I'll break up when I tell it, but that's okay. I'll make it interesting for you. I managed to make it to 26 years old without ever having to work full-time. But I finally put on the yoke of full-time work at 26 and got a job at Palm Springs High School teaching Spanish. I had over 200 students on my roster, and after first period on that first day, I was completely exhausted. I thought, I'm not doing this. Insane. No one can do this. Kids were coming in, 35 kids in, 35 kids out. They were passing in the doorway, papers flying everywhere. God help you if you say the attendance wrong. It's not Kristen, it's Kirsten. Oh, run out crying. It's exhausting. So by fourth period, I said, and frankly, blank this. I can't do, no one can do this. I looked at my colleagues in the lunchroom and I said, they're either saints or insane. And I saw my teaching credential, 5 years flying out of the window. And the only thing that motivated me to go to 5th period was thought that I would quit. I was going to march into the principal's office, apologize profusely, and say, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. So I made it to 5th period on that thought, and I was changing classrooms. It was a similar situation as this. I was on a riser, and 40 kids come in and sit there. I'm taking attendance 10 minutes into class. I'm only on G. I made the mistake of looking up, and every single eyeball was on me, because this is the first day of school. They're on their best behavior. One paper airplane could have cut it for me, but no. Every eyeball was on me, and I panicked. And I froze. And I said, you're going to have to give me a minute. And I looked down, and a girl below me was beautifully smiling up at me. The most gorgeous, you got this smile. And it was kind of, from where she was sitting, it was one of those under the eyebrows kind of smile. And I had to smile back because of mirroring, right? And she winked. And that smile and that wink cut through every icicle of fear in my body. And I completely melted, and I taught 5th period with ease, and I enjoyed it. And when it was over, I wanted to take her with me, but she had to go. So in came 6th period, and I had to use the memory of Oliva's beautiful smile. And the memory of Oliva's, you got this smile, in her 16-year-old wisdom, carried me through 5th period. In memory of Oliva's smile, got me through 30 years of public teaching. Wow. Told ya. So never underestimate the power of a smile. And I will end mercifully with a quote from another student who was barely learning English, Ravishai Sirihun. She wrote it in a Christmas card, and I share this sentiment with you now. I wish that you are always beautiful. Thank you so much.